Good morning, true crime friends. Chad Daybell, Trial Day 21, Part 2. Listen, I did Part 1 yesterday on Mother's Day. This is Part 2. If you missed Part 1, just go back and listen to Part 1 and then come on over here and join us for Part 2. Also, make sure you like that video and subscribe to this channel. But look, we need to get right into it. Samantha Gwilliam took the stand. Honey, now listen, Samantha Gwilliam is Tammy Daybell's sister. And I was like, okay. Now, the relatives, the distant relatives, the friends, whatever, they might have certain things to say. But the sister? These sisters were close. These were Mormon sisters. They grew up together. They did the family home evenings. They did the whole thing. Very, very close. Possibly enmeshed family. Tammy and her sister Samantha lived across the street from each other, even as like grown married women. They were moms. They raised their kids together. They were like this. And so I'm like, oh, so do you know Samantha knows all the good. She knows every single thing that's happening in Tammy's life, or at least she did. And so she took the stand and she got up there and she was nervous and her voice is quivering. She was so like, oh, this is the day I have waited for. But the more she talked, child, she got into it, and I was like, oh, girl, okay, I'm gonna need you to tell me every single thing. Okay, so first, she was like, Tammy was in excellent health. She was only 49 when that slug unfortunately unalived my sister, but her health was pristine. Now, Chad and his lawyers are up here talking about, oh, she had this and she had that and she passed out at church. No, Tammy was doing clogging, which for the uninformed, that does not include wooden shoes. It's like river dance in tap shoes. I do not understand the appeal, but people do, especially down there in the South, I think, and other places. Child, I don't know how clogging works. But anyway, Tammy was doing it, and it was like high fit. It was a lot of bouncing around. Oh, girl, I hope you had a good foundation garment. Anyway, she was clogging. She was doing Zumba. She was doing high fit, and she was training for a 5K. That's a lot of cardio. Okay, so she was doing all of that, and Samantha was like, everything was great until Chad started saying, yeah, we need to move to Rexburg out of Iowa. And Samantha was like, yeah, no, we not doing that. So Samantha's husband was like, baby, let's talk about it. Let's go over here in this corner, whatever, and talk about it. Now, this is all according to Samantha's testimony. Her husband talked to her, and she looked at her husband, and she's like, are you crazy? Why would we follow that marshmallow anywhere? No. And so once Chad got word that Samantha, the sister, didn't want to move up to Iowa to Rexburg, Chad declared Samantha to be dark. Okay. Next stop is zombieism. I guess you know what happens to zombies. Samantha, girl, you're lucky to have gotten out of this with your life. Meanwhile, Samantha was like, you know what Chad was doing? Chad was isolating my sister up there in Iowa away from the family because he didn't want her around any of us, because I was going to be like, girl, why your husband telling you to do crazy things? And so he was just like, let me just pluck my little wife Tammy out of this and put her over here. Chad Daybell ran his family like a cult. I said it yesterday. I'm telling you again. This man had his own personal cult in his house, and then he just was expanding it outwards. So after Tammy passed away, obviously Samantha was devastated. She was upset, and she was like, well, we do not know what happened to my beloved sister. So obviously there will be an autopsy. So she was like, boop, 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 boop. Chad, listen. I know you think I'm dark. I don't even care. Are you having an autopsy? You know what Chad said? No, because it would hold things up. Hold what things up, Chad? What plans do you have, Chad? Why are you trying to get this rushed along, Chad? She was looking at him real hard. And then he was like, after all, an autopsy would cost $1,500. Okay, but if this is the life of your loved one, right? You make time and space and money. Child, get along, whatever. We are all pitching. It's a big old Mormon family. They could have passed the hat, done a GoFundMe. Please help fund this autopsy. He was like, nah, it's extra money. Plus, if you wait long enough, turns out the county will do a free one for you. I'm just saying. But, hang on. You know how to already talk my throat dry. Hang on. So he was like, no. Autopsies take time and they are too expensive. I'm not doing that. It's a hot trollop down there in Hawaii waiting for me, and I need to go on winged feet down there to go, Google. No, I need to fondle the kibbles and bits of a trollop that's down there in the sunny lands. So no. Let's get this heifer buried and keep moving it all along. Also, Chad did not want his wife buried near where he could visit her and see her lovely gravesite all the time. He was like, put her back down there by her sister. They can be dark down there together. No, I don't want her nowhere near me. And then here's the thing I had not realized. Chad, when they made Tammy's headstone, was like, don't put my name on the headstone. Now listen, sir, Mr. I want to pinch a penny cost-saving efforts. When you make the tombstone, usually what you do is you say, here lies Tammy Daybell, date of birth, date of death. And then you also put Chad Daybell's name. You put the spouse's name on the tombstone because apparently when Mormons trace family history, they do it a lot by tombstones. It's kind of like making a family tree, only I guess a tombstone is much more of a commitment. So by tradition, you would put your spouse's name on the headstone, even if they were still alive. Then you can put their year of birth. Then when they pass, all you have to pay for is the date they died. Done and done, right? Super easy. Chad was like, nah. Leave my name off of it. So Samantha was like, something in the milk ain't clean. I am very, very, very suspicious as to why all this is happening. But Chad was just like, you know me, I'm doing the right thing because I'm extra strength holy. Sir, you're extra strength murdery. And we know that. So Samantha had a lot of questions for Chad. The Chad was really, really struggling to answer. So Samantha was like, look, come here. Slide on over here, you slimy bastard. Let me talk to you. I got a couple questions. What is happening here? I need to understand. And Chad, in his most holy and reverent voice, said, when I was there in the graveyard, Tammy came to me and she told me, Chad, my mission here on earth is accomplished. Samantha was having none of it. None. Not even a little bit. Not at all. So John Pryor was just like, objection. What is the time and place of this conversation? Because you got to keep in mind, in the court, it's a triangle. The prosecution can talk to the judge. The defense can talk to the judge. But it's like you can only talk to the witness when it is absolutely your turn. So you have to sit there quietly and wait to be spoken to. So when John Pryor stood up and made the objection, and he's like, what is the time and date of this conversation? Samantha Gwilliam, still having no time for his mess, was like, December 15th. I was wearing red fingernail polish and some blue shoes. What else you want to know, you idiot? I mean, she didn't say all of that, but she did pipe in real quick with the date because she was like, I am on this. I am sick of this lump. He has unfortunately unalived my sister. Now he's trying to run all this stuff past me. No, what he's not going to do is that. So Samantha very boldly, very confidently answered all the questions that the prosecution asked of her. And I was like, good job, Samantha. Then the prosecution sat down. Then Mr. Pryor, the defense attorney, got up and he was like, good afternoon, Samantha Gwilliam. If I don't have time for your mess was a person, it was Miss Samantha Gwilliam sitting up there on the stand. She said absolutely nothing to this man. He said, good afternoon. You know she a nice Mormon lady. You know it's just in her DNA to be just like, hi, how you doing? How's your mama name? You know what she said? Nothing. She paid him dust. She was just like, Anyway, so he went on and they talked about the family, they talked about the kids or whatever. And then John Pryor asked a very interesting question. He was just like, are Chad and Tammy's kids still LDS? And I was like, number one, why does that matter? Objection, relevance. But I mean, listen, they don't let me ask questions because I got a whole list of questions that they're probably not going to let me get up in court and ask. Guarantee they're not going to let me get up in court and ask because, you know, I'm not going over there to Idaho to Iowa. I'm not even sure I can find it on the map real good. So anyway, he asked all his questions and then he was just like, so, ultimately, he has some question. I forget what the question he asked. And Samantha Gwilliam volunteered this little tidbit of information that I thought was very interesting. She said, the Gwilliams are being blamed for this investigation. Really now? So Chad, in his addled brain, is blaming all the family members. He's blaming Heather Daybell. He's blaming Samantha Gwilliam. To me, it sounds like he's blaming all the women. All the women who are 5'6" and 120 pounds are to blame for, what are they, jealous that he got this hot piece of tail even though she's murderous and horrible? Okay, sir, you are husband number 5 or 6. You are not that special. She just be passing it out like it's communion wine or something. Please, how you think you got something extra good? Also, you only had this heifer for like 2-3 months before she was locked up in jail, and now you going to prison for the rest of your life. So who's winning here? Team Frumpy is winning all day long. Oh yes, all those women who you thought you were too good for. Oh no, I need to level up. I need this 5'6", 120-pound beauty. She's petite. She's this. She's that. Blonde hair, blue eyes. You know what else she is? In prison for the rest of her life. Sir, sit down. Anyway. So Samantha said that a lot of the family members blame her and her husband for the investigation into Tammy's unfortunate unaliving. That's obviously not true. There is obviously a mountain of evidence as to why Chad is about to be convicted, but we're not trying to put the cart before the horse, but he gonna be convicted, right? Let us just touch and agree. We understand. He's going to be convicted. Anyway, but she said, one other thing. She said, some of the kids don't talk to us. Really? I want to know, like, look, we know Emma Daybell's not talking to you. I'm not sure whether or not Garth is talking to you, but Emma and Garth seem to be like of one accord. Also, how come Garth is not married? It's very curious to me that Garth is not married. Did he not go on a mission? I thought, okay. Mormon Twitter, Mormon Tinder, what are those swipey things, child? I have not dated in the years of swiping. Anyway, somebody hook up poor Garth, because I'm sure he's very sad, and it's against Mormon laws to like rough up your own suspect, so he got to have somebody to rough up his little suspect. I'm sure he's very sad now. His daddy in jail, his mama's dead, child. It's a tough situation. Anyway, also, who's gonna date him? I know I wouldn't. Anyway, but Samantha Gwilliam said most of the kids don't speak to us. So you know what I want to know? Which kids do? Which kids do? What was it? Not Emma. What's the other one's name? Layla, Leilani. Child, I don't know her name. Which kids still speak to you? And what do they say when they talk to you? They coming over for family home evening. You give them your good Mormon funeral potatoes recipe. I promise you, I think Mormons eat other things. I'm just not sure what those other things might be. Please hold, child, because you know my throat is dry again already. So after Samantha got off the stand, then this lady, Nicole Heidemann, got up on the stand. And I was like, okay, now look, it's no tea like family tea. This whole trial could have been the family just getting up like, you know what I heard, and you know what my auntie told me at the last get together, and at Thanksgiving, you know what I heard. Because that really, your family Thanksgiving table, child, that's a court of law. I mean, some of it, the evidence comes in whispered in your ear and dropped on your text messenger. You sitting there at the table you sitting there at the Thanksgiving table looking at your phone on the table like, she pregnant again. Look, Mother's Day yesterday, I found a couple people was pregnant. I didn't know was pregnant. I'm just saying, you learn things when you get together as a family. So anyway, when the family got down, I was like, the rest of this day is going to be boring. Oh, was I wrong? Miss Nicole Heidemann is the email lady. Now, she has a technical title over there in the police, and I guarantee you I have no idea what it is. It really kind of doesn't matter, because this is what she told us. She came to this trial to tell us what was in the emails. And I was like, people still email? I mean, people email me all the time. I don't really read email. I mean, I do. But you got to tell me you sent an email for me to go find it in my email. If you're not texting me, then basically you're not talking to me. So she talk about email. I'm like, okay, boomer, whatever. Why don't you just like get a quill and some ink and some of that rolled up paper and write me a letter and then tie it to the leg of a pigeon? Like, email is super old fashioned in my estimation. But these suckers, oh child, they was emailing their whole lives, and it was juicy. Oh my goodness, I have the hiccups. Oh, it was juicy. Hang on. So first they're emailing back and forth about all kinds of things. And you can see Lori's email confirmations as she's ordering her wedding attire and ordering her rings. They bought glow-in-the-dark rings. How old are y'all? Glow-in-the-dark wedding rings? Really? Now, they chose malachite as their stone, and I understand that has some sort of like religious significance for them or whatever. In the Church of the Firstborn, church that they made up, but okay, fine, whatever. So glow-in-the-dark rings were part of their spiritual, I don't know what, the cult of the unaliving. Okay, cool. So they got their glow-in-the-dark rings from Etsy. Lovely. Good for you. And then shortly after the unfortunate unaliving of Lori's husband, Chad Daybell set his marshmallow behind down and started writing fan fiction to Miss Lori. Child, hang on. These allergies are kicking my behind today, but listen, you know I got to come with that good, so here I am. They took all the emails from Chad, like all these different emails that he sent at different times, and they put it together into one continuous, cohesive story so that we can read it straight through. Now listen, over there on Hidden True Crime, they read the James and Elaina story through from beginning to end, and it was filthy, cringeworthy, and like, also poorly written. Anyway, which honestly, that's the biggest sin of all, if you ask me. But look, so James and Elaina are the names that Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow Daybell gave themselves. And so Chad was like, hey, girl, I'm going to write some fan fiction that's your love story and my love story so you can see how much I love you. And I was like, okay, we know you're an author. You're not a good one. But okay, we're going to give your book a chance. And so he's like, once upon a time, I mean, I don't think that's how it started, but honestly, it might as well have been how it started. It was like, once upon a time, this dude, James, was going to go down to a conference, and he thought it was going to be a regular day. And then the Lord whispered in his ear, psst, James, my man, you going to meet a hot piece of tail down here at the conference. And he was like, okay, cool, Lord, let's see what happens. Then he goes to the conference, and here come a hot piece of tail. And he was like, oh Lord, I see. I'm not taking your name in vain. I'm just calling you out in thanksgiving and reverence to say, oh, here come that hot piece of tail that you prophesied as I was driving down here. And so she jumped behind his table and she started helping him sell books, and everything was grand. The end. And I was like, okay, that's all. Oh no, parts here. There's many parts. I'm not going to tell you where the part breaks are because it all goes together and it is all sheer madness. Also, as you should know, that in trial day 21, they only got through the first half of the story. So in this video, I'm only going to cover the part of the story that was covered in trial on Friday. Child, if you have children, first of all, why are you letting your children watch this video? Don't do that. Don't do that, because this is about to get dirty. Anyway, so Chad was like, all over email, which, okay, boomer. James and Elaina were hot in the pants for one another, and he was tumescent, if you know what I mean. And she was fully moisturized at the thought of him. And so they decided to like hang out together and spend the day together, and they talked about the Lord. And then flash over to times gone by in a previous life. They had known each other and they were friends with the Savior walking the dusty streets of Jerusalem. Chad, I know you are not going to put the Savior in your softcore porn. Okay. He's like, James was BFFs with Jesus, and Elaina was like a good friend of his, but they were not friends with benefits or nothing because they were super holy. And the Lord introduced them, and they were like, oh, you are my husband, you are my wife. And they got time to spend all day and night together. Sometimes they would stop and preach to people, but the rest of the time, because they were married, they would spend many days and nights entangled in each other, and the Lord told them it was okay. I know y'all are not triangulating Jesus in your softcore porn. Yeah, what? How is this even okay? So he was doing flashbacks and flash forwards between them on the dusty streets of Jerusalem. My throat was dry. My eyes was dry. I think my brain dried out listening to this crazy behind story. Y'all got Jesus all up in the Uchi and the coochie of your story. Y'all going to hell with gasoline draws on. So anyway, he was like, then back in real life, in the story, James and Elaina went to the hotel to, so that she could tuck James in for the night. And then they decided to change it to something more comfortable. So he put on gym shorts. How you telling a sexy story that includes gym shorts? Okay. So also, don't he got Dunlop's disease? You know, his belly done lopped down over his manhood so he couldn't see it. No, okay, whatever. Captain Dunlop sat down on the couch, and Elaina came and straddled him and sat backwards on his lap, and they fit together perfectly. Ew! Okay, so your romantic story about James and Elaina includes dry docking? Really? Okay. And so she bounced up and down and wiggled and rubbed all over him until happiness happened. And then I was just like, we're in court, right? I need ear bleach. I need eye bleach. And then one of the jurors signaled to the judge, excuse me, Your Honor, we've been talking about it and we're going to need a puke break. this whole back row right here, we're going to need a puke break. And so the judge was like, child, me too. Okay, so everybody, let's take a break, stretch your legs. We're going to let the jurors go throw up. They're going to rinse their mouths. We're going to get some coffee. We're going to fan ourselves. I know you LDS and you don't believe in hot drinks, but this is an occasion that calls for coffee. Dear Lord Jesus. And then so after the puke break, they came back and they talked like a little bit more about the James and Elaina story. And first there was just dry docking. Then there was full docking, if you know what I mean. And the jurors was like, and the judge was like, don't worry, everyone has been distributed 2 or 3 airline sickness bags. Going forward for the rest of this week, we will give you a light lunch because we understand this is a trial. And if you did not need therapy from seeing those autopsy pictures, clearly you're going to need a lot of therapy to recover from the James and Elaina story. And finally, the jury had just had too much. They was like, Your Honor, we cannot. I need a weekend. I need to go buy my wife some flowers. I think I might need to go get baptized again or something because this is a mess. And Your Honor was like, child, I know. And so the court wrapped for the day. And I was like, oh, thank God, because we needed a break from that. And Chad just sat there back stiff, looking around like, I am a brilliant writer. And I was like, how long till we can sentence him to the unalive penalty? Because on the strength of that story alone, we need to put him down like a dog. I'm just saying. Can we just take him to like the local animal shelter? Because they do it all day, every day. It's a situation. I am a pacifist. I am a peace-loving individual. But this Mama Luke, can we just take him out back and stone him and stuff? Okay, maybe it's not a good idea that I recommend various means of unaliving people because that's probably going to be bad for the algorithm. But what I'm saying is when this verdict comes down, it might be based solely on the strength of the James and Elaina story because ew. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. Yes, this mess is also a podcast, so you can keep me right in your ears. Lord have mercy. I hope you might need some ear bleach after this. Today, day 22 of the trial will continue and hopefully conclude the James and Elaina story. Child, get yourself an airline sickness bag, batten down the hatches, and I will see you soon. Bye.